You know, I love the writings of the Chinese leader Watchman Nee. He was very influential in China because of his publications and the books he wrote, such as The Normal Christian Life, and also the churches he established there, but also because of his unwavering witness. Following the communist revolution in China, he was persecuted and imprisoned for his faith. In fact, he spent the last 20 years of his life in prison, and he died there in 1972. But here's one story that he told. He said there were two Chinese brothers, both Christians, who were cultivating rice paddy fields halfway up a hill. And during the day, they would irrigate their fields under the heat of the sun. Well, one night, while they were asleep, the kind of pagan farmers lower down the hill, they dug a hole in the brothers' irrigation channel so that the water all kind of flowed down into their own fields. Next morning, the brothers saw what had happened, but they said nothing. You know, Christians are meant to be patient and forbearing and not strike back. And so they repaired the channels and they filled them with water again. But the next night, the same thing happened. And this went on for 7 nights in a row. And for 7 days in succession, these two brothers silently suffered this wrong. And each time they repaired their channels and they didn't say anything about it. After all, you know, shouldn't Christians suffer the wrong that is done to them? Didn't Jesus say to us, "Happy are you when others revile you and persecute you? You know, rejoice and be glad, for great is your reward in heaven." But strange to say, these brothers didn't feel very happy. They weren't happy at all. In fact, their unhappiness distressed them to such a degree that they brought the matter to a pastor. They said to him, "How comes, you know, having suffered all this wrong for a full week, we are still unhappy?" Well, the pastor said to them, "It's because you've not gone far enough. You should first irrigate those farmers' fields and then do your own. Go and test it out," he said. So the next morning, they got up even earlier and they irrigated the other farmers' fields. An amazing thing happened. The more that they labored on their persecutors' land, the happier they became. And when the brothers had repeated this for 2 or 3 days, the farmers called to apologize. And they said, "If this is Christianity, we want to know more about it." You see, the brothers had done what they thought was right. You know, they tried to be good Christians. They didn't retaliate. You know, they tried to forgive, have a good attitude. And millions of Christians live the same way. You know, good, middle-of-the-road Christians, but never really entering into the fullness of God's blessing, the blessing that God has for us and for the people around us. You know, the Spirit of Jesus in us is far more radical than that, right? He wants to lead us in serving sacrificially, loving extravagantly, giving generously, and going the extra mile. You know, being a blessing to those who are against us. That's what changes lives and marriages and families and communities, because that's what Jesus did for us. That even while we were enemies of God, Christ died for us. So who can you serve today?